Hi VC, Dale Gatefold 33 back with another video. This is going to be a finds video, a themed finds video. So I'm recording this right at the end of November 2024. So November is the end of autumn, or certainly autumn in the UK or the Northern Hemisphere. And yeah, obviously I took a break from making videos August through to November, so that break happened to be most of autumn. And rather cliche, but for me autumn means, oh, let's start getting the folk music out. Obviously you can play folk music at any point in the year, it's not just for autumn, but it feels like a good time. So yes, I haven't kind of showcased any of that, and sort of luckily this year as well, I had a couple of decent sort of car boot folk related finds as well. So I was going to weave that in with this. So pretty much these are all finds. Well, they are all finds that I haven't shown before, all folk related or folk rock related. So we'll start with a cassette. So this is June Tabor, and is it Aqaba? Yeah, this is a late 80s release. And yeah, so I've picked up quite a big haul of cassettes earlier in the year, and I've kind of stuck them in a box, and I've been, well, I would say working through them, but not working through them. And I remembered that there was a few, two or three folk ones in there, so I picked this one out, played it. For a tape cassette, an old cassette, it sounded fantastic. Normally they'd sound a bit, wow and fluttery or whatever, and a bit, and I'll have issues with them. But I played this all the way through, and it sounded great. So, and I really enjoy the album. It's typical June Tabor. June Tabor's got a particular style. I think she's got quite a sort of a distinct tone to her singing, and she tends to sing, some pretty melancholic tales of tragedy or whatever, and this is no different. But I really enjoyed it for a late 80s. It hasn't particularly got 80s production in it, which is good. So I'll probably be having, like I say, I got this for, it was like a 10 pence tape in a big box of tapes, but now I've listened to it, I'll probably seek out a proper version on vinyl or CD at some point if I come across it. So that was that. So yeah, a few weeks ago, towards the end of the car boot season, car boot sales are finished now until February. I managed to, I got second to a box of records. There was a box of records. It was early car boot, dark-ish, and I saw a box of records. But then there was somebody there, and this guy normally he sells all sorts of used stuff. So he'll normally pick out anything. Anything of value, but I don't want it to sound rude, but he's a general reseller. He isn't a record. So often I've been sort of second to boxes with him before, and he's missed things because I just don't think if it's not Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, I'm not sure he knows what it is. So actually he left it completely. It was a box of mainly folk stuff, 50 pence each. So I kind of like my folk and know things about labels, and kind of I was in there and picked quite a lot out of it. Nothing, one decent really decent album. The rest was just of interest because it was stuff on the Transatlantic label or the Trailer label or Topic label, etc. But there were I'll just show you these comps. There were some compilation albums, and looked of interest. So yes, I say grab the load of stuff because it's only 50 pence each. So these four, I'll show you the first one. This the title intrigued me. Songs of Love, Lust and Loose Living. I thought, yep. And track listings. Oh no John, no John, no. The Art of Love. It's got let no man steal your time. On his mistress going to bed, take me out of pity, still growing, after the pangs of a desperate lover, So I thought, yeah, okay, it's on Extra, which is a subsidiary of Transatlantic. So I thought, yeah, that'd be fine. But it says it's Isla Cameron and Tony Britton, and so I played this, and so yeah, it's traditional songs, but I then twigged Tony Britton. So I remember he was an English actor or British actor, famous for being the father in Robin's Nest, for those of you remember that comedy series of the 70s, I want to say. And yeah, so this, unfortunately, although these are traditional songs of love, lust and loose living, they're sung by actors rather than folk singers. So they're in a kind of musical style, musical drama, musical theatre style, rather than a folk style, which... But so I say I only sampled it, and I will listen to it. Particularly, I want to listen to the rendition of "Let No Man Steal Your Time." But yeah, slightly disappointed that it wasn't in a folk style. However, compensation in the next of these comps, fantastic sleeve art there. This is part of a series, I think, Folk Songs of Britain. This is Volume 1, Songs of Courtship. So, and this is a folk album. This is on the on Topic Records. So there's the Topic label there. Yeah, so this is a folk album. I haven't listened to this yet, but it hasn't got particularly very famous, but it's got a lot of different folk artists singing, songs of courtship. So on Our Wedding Day, Bonnie Kate, Sweet Primroses, Mountain Streams, As I Roved Out, The Girl Was Smart for the Fiddler, or whatever. So yeah, looking forward to that. In the same series, again with some nice 70s or 60s artwork there. Folk Songs of Britain, Volume 4, The Child Ballads 1. So yeah, Francis James Child from the 19th century American collector, cataloguer of folk songs that have then been used, a number obviously since as a good reference for folk artists that otherwise these songs would have been lost. So yeah, and these are child ballads, again sung by a variety of folk singers, most of which I'm not familiar with, but again, looking forward to giving that a listen. And then finally, a BBC album, Folk on a Friday. It's just got a few artists, each with sort of a number of tracks, or 2 tracks anyway. So I guess this was a series on the radio, BBC Folk on Friday. So I did just tested a couple of tracks. So it's got like Tony Rose, Robin and Barry Dransfield, amongst others on this. I did sample it because I wasn't sure. I thought I would have been really interested if it was actually, the performances that were done for the radio show rather than just random tracks selected from albums by these artists. So I'm not quite sure what it is. But what I liked was the label. That is a real 1970s artwork with the sort of mustard green and red. If that doesn't come out, BBC label. Yeah, fantastic bit of labelography there. Let me just put that away if I can. With me. Okay, so that's a few comps. Then, look, I'm taking these out of the sleeve just for Headley. In fact, no, what I'll do it in that order. 3 more albums from that box that I picked up. Here is Martin Carthy's second album. So in some vinyl finds earlier this year, I picked up a reissue of Martin Carthy's debut album. He's got a fantastic voice at that sort of mid-60s. His voice is is really, really kind of tuneful and melodic. And this is him again, almost repeat in his second album of him either kind of a cappella, just to the acoustic guitar, or with Dave Swarbrick on violin. So yeah, as good as his debut album, but for 50 pence from a box of records. Happy to get that. What's that on? That's on Fontana. Still in that box. This, was something you probably would pass by in a charity shop. This is on Extra again, so the subsidiary of Transatlantic Records. Archie Fisher. There's Archie Fisher there, I think. A Glaswegian folk singer from the 60s. This is from 1968, but I think he'd been singing for many years before this album came out, or several years, shall we say. But again, yeah, really lovely voice. It's just folk. It's nothing, he's accompanied by violin and mandolin, piccolo and whistle by these two gentlemen. But yeah, it's just folk, but really nice voice, some good, nice songs. Yeah, I kind of was gonna, would have, say, if it hadn't been 50 pence, I probably would have passed this one by. Well, I'd seen the Transatlantic label, probably would have got it. The pick of the box for me, though, was finding a Shirley Collins album in there. This is The Power of the True Love Knot on Polydor from 68, I want to say, kind of sort of laminated all the way around. Now, I really like Shirley Collins, or rather, I really appreciate Shirley Collins, but sometimes I struggle to listen to Shirley Collins because of the particular style of singing and tone of her voice. She is quite pure, and her voice, in terms of her approach to folk, it's quite straight, and her voice, I need to be in the mood. So I have a number of Shirley Collins albums that I've been lucky enough to find at car boot sales, and this is a great addition. But this one, I started to play it, and the first sort of song or so, I thought, oh, it's going to be another one. But then I really eased into it and really enjoyed it. It's got, although it's badged as a Shirley Collins album, it's got Dolly Collins on flute organ. And I think the organ arrangements just kind of really add something to it. And so, yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. So that was a nice find. Okay, then earlier in the year, late summer, so the next 4 albums, this was Dale the car boot sleuth, I think. So yeah, I've been to the car. I was going around the car boot, and I saw a sort of elderly couple, and they had some CDs, and they looked out of the ordinary. Nothing, some sort of world music, folk that wasn't really much, but folk, world, jazz. So I kind of, as I do with people who might look like they're candidates for having records, I said, "Oh, have you got any records?" And the woman said, "Oh no, you think we still got a few left? We brought a load hit last year, and people really snapped them up." She said, "But I think we've got a few left at home. I'll try and dig them out and bring them next week." So so I was there as normal the next week, and I kind of mentally remembered their car, and the cars were coming in to start setting up, and saw their car, so I kind of like walked straight to where they parked up. She got out the door, and I said, "Oh, hello, do you remember me from last week? Did you manage to remember the records?" And she went, "Oh yeah." Opened the door, gave me a bag of records. Because I thought if you don't get in first, you're not going to get it. So, and lo and behold, there was some folk in there, as I had sleuthed. There was some folk in there. So I picked up a few things, and I'm going to show 4 of them here. So first one is nothing super exciting. Fairport Conventions, Babacom Lee. This is the one with, it's got a booklet and an inner sleeve with the lyrics, etc. It's on the Pink Rim Island label. It's nice condition. It's a little bit of foxing to the sleeve, but the album. But yeah, so I've been thinking about buying this for a number of years. So I really like the first 4 Fairport Convention albums. So the Judy Dybel one and the 3 Sandy Denny ones, and I like Full House. And I've kind of stopped there. I'm not really into the sort of male group Fairport Convention. And they've got quite a prolific catalogue, so I wasn't going to go down that road. But this is the one sort of shortly after that I've always thought, it's a sort of, I guess, concept album. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It is a concept, and I read the book. I read the book that explained the sort of tragic life that it depicted. But yes, I enjoyed that. More interesting out of the bag were the next 3, including a mini grail, shall we say. So the next 2 are both by the same artist. So first up is this album. So this is Mr. Fox, and this is a really clean original on Transatlantic. So yeah, knew about Mr. Fox. I have a few of their tracks from different CD comps. So nice to find that in lovely condition. These were a couple of pounds each. Also the second Mr. Fox album, nice to find that. I've got a Carol Pegg solo album. This is an original where they, for a very brief period, it's also on Transatlantic. For a very brief period, they had this plastic inner sleeve with a sponge bit at the insert, to sort of clean your records in theory as you pull them in and out. But unfortunately, what it actually did was, if you, the plastic was quite rough and hard and might scratch your records, and B, that sponge at the edge your record would sit on it, and it would actually have a reaction with the record over years if you just left it. And that is the case. There is a small piece mark on the leading groove. Luckily it doesn't affect play. So yeah, 2 great folk rock albums there by Mr. Fox. So really happy to have originals of those. And then finally, this one was the real find. Not super duper, but a real find was something that I've wanted to pick up. It is rare because I don't think it's ever been officially reissued or even put on CD or anything. So this is Dave and Tony Arthur and Hearken to the Witch's Rune. And there's Tony Arthur on the back there, and there they are. It's got a label tear mark, unfortunately, but other than that, the record's in fantastic condition, and the sleeve's okay. But yeah, this is sort of badged as a bit of a weird folk, dark folk type, and it's interesting. Certainly, it's enjoyable, and I'm really glad I've got it, and I really like the album. But perhaps it wasn't as dark and weird as perhaps I had built it up to be, having kind of sort of heard about it and read about it a number of years ago, but never seen it. But yeah, and for those of you who of a certain age like me, Tony Arthur was known to me as a presenter on Play Away and Play School kids TV, and she was always the sort of hippie, slightly interesting, sort of hippie, slightly different one, more kind of edgy, if you like, for a young children's TV presenter. So yeah, but with her husband, she did a couple of albums, but this has got some renown to it, and really interesting, and is kind of badged as, say, being this dark folk, scary masterpiece. So they were all used records. I'm just going to finish with one, just because I've just done that one. I also picked up this during the year, not in the last few months, but I picked up this during the year, which is Comus First Utterance. This is a Music on Vinyl reissue. It was on my I put it on my Amazon wish list. I've always wanted to get a copy. Obviously, I'll never, almost certainly never stumble across an original. But this is kind of supposed, this is the pinnacle of weird horror, freak folk, if you like. Which again, this wasn't. I think I have listened to it digitally before buying it. It's a real mix. So it has got some rather freaky elements to it, and then it's got some absolutely beautiful elements to it as well. And I think the combination of the two makes it really work. So yeah, this is a great album, but not as terrifying perhaps as I'd expected it to be, but very, very enjoyable and a good addition to the collection. Oops. So that's just an update of folk as it's the last knockings of autumn, and so I'll come back next with perhaps a more general update of records that I found. But that's it for now. Cheers, VC. Bye.